We have all probably driven tons of miles in Grand Theft Auto 5, but I don't think so many people actually pay attention to the road and its details, or the lack thereof. When you do, however, it gets pretty ugly. So today we will do just that. Thank you to my channel members, and please enjoy. There's an intersection in the middle of the highway in Paleto Bay, and I can't, why would Rockstar think this is okay? Or I actually legitimately don't understand. There is a middle intersection in a busy highway. So if you want to get from, if you want to go southbound and you're coming from the east, you have to cross 2 lanes of traffic to go in the middle, probably risk getting T-boned by both cars, and then once you're in the middle you have to wait. Only one car could be in the middle, so that's very inefficient, and then you could go and merge onto southbound or whatever you want to do. But this is so dangerous. I have absolutely no idea what Rockstar was thinking, and I pass by this probably every day, and you probably do too. Next up, we have this terrible street in Rockford Hills, or next to the Los Angeles Customs in Rockford Hills. NPCs can drive onto both lanes. They can turn left from both lanes because there's 2 arrows, meaning that both lanes could turn left. So if an NPC is driving in the far right lane, they could, and they will, I see this happen literally all the time, they will go in the right lane to turn left and then proceed to go straight through this intersection. This is extremely dangerous, and why would this even be here? There's a street right up ahead where you could turn left. That whole street right there makes no sense at all. And then there's another part of the street that comes in that merges into these 2 lanes. This is just extremely dangerous and terrible. This next one isn't so bad. It's just a funny arrow that's telling you to turn right. But if you turn right, you will kind of end up on the freeway. So that's not very safe. Now, is it Rockstar? I guess you could technically say that it's meant for the street up ahead, but the street up ahead is half a mile away. Why would they put it so early? Doesn't make a lot of sense. This next street is so terrible. There are 3 lanes that have to merge into 1, and this is absolutely bad. And then on this same street, there's an arrow indicating you can only turn right, and then the lane next to it you could go straight, but there's only one way, and that's straight. So what do you mean turn right? On the street up ahead? That don't make no sense. 3 cars trying to compete for 1 lane sounds like a recipe for disaster. Next up, we have this arrow that goes straight through a railroad. Absolutely no problem at all. You'll probably hit a couple poles, and you'll probably get T-boned by a train, end up dead. So that's always nice, but this absolutely makes no sense at all. This was heavily rushed, this part at least, because this makes no sense. If you want, maybe you could have the lane next to it be able to turn left as well as go straight, but this lane where it just makes you go left is absolutely horrid. Next up, another funny arrow. It kind of just clips through this median divider right here. It's not really in the middle of the lane, and this lane is also very skinny. There's a lane right next to it that kind of shows the odd proportions of this, but this lane is hella small, and the arrow clips through the median, so that's always nice. Next up, we have this horrible parking garage. This has to be one of the worst parking garages I've ever seen in my life. So you go in, and it's pretty fair, Then you come across a yellow divided part of the garage, and usually this means that you're not supposed to cross through it, because if you cross through it, then of course, you're not supposed to. That's why it's chalked up like that with diagonal lines. So that's not too bad. If you somehow manage to get past those, I guess the rest of the garage is fair game, nothing too out of the ordinary, whatever. But what you probably didn't see is these horrendous parking spaces right here. How is anyone supposed to get right there? What is this parking for? A bicycle? A motorcycle? I don't even really understand. Some motorcycles, this would be impossible to park. This length is half the length of a parking spot. There's a rail right here. I don't know why Rockstar added parking there. And not to mention, there's a yellow diagonal square. That means you can't cross. So you're not even supposed to go there anyways. A really terrible design from Rockstar shown here in this parking lot. Next up, we have these parking spaces in Vinewood Hills. Now, this is fine. Of course, not bad to park, but the curb is red, which means that you can't park here. And I guess this could be emergency parking, but why does there need to be 4 spaces for emergency vehicles? And why would an emergency vehicle need to be here anyways? I guess in the event of a fire, but then at that point, you would just shut down the streets. You wouldn't have to build infrastructure to accommodate emergency vehicles. It really makes no sense here, and I don't even know why there's parking here. Maybe for the park nearby, but it's not even really a park. It's just mountains. Next up, we have this pretty bad intersection in Paleto Bay. These are all traffic lights. These should all just be stop signs here. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. And there's also 2 lights on all of these. There only needs to be 1 because there's only 1 lane in each direction of travel. So them having 2 lights, usually it's 1 light per lane, so there only needs to be 1 light here. Really makes no sense at all. Next up, we have this pretty bad street in Mission Row. So say you're on the street, you want to make a right here, Well, too bad, because this arrow says that you have to go straight. So, you know, you go straight, whatever. Now you have to cross this light, past this light, and at the next one, you have to wait for the light to turn green, of course, because it's probably red if you have luck like myself. And then once you get to that light, you have to make a left, and okay, now you have to wait for this light as well. So once this light is green, then you can make a left down this one-way area. And then once you're in this one way, you have to meet a light again. And then once you're at this light, you have to wait for it to turn green and then make another left. Go down that street, and then there is another light you have to wait for to turn green. And then you could go onto that street. Why go through all that trouble when you could simply just make this arrow go right as well as going straight? I don't know why they didn't make it so you could go right. It looks perfectly fine to me. I'm not sure why they'd be able to do that, or they make it like that, but Rockstar will be Rockstar. Similar to the Vinewood parking situation, we have more parking underneath kind of the FIB and the IAA building, which is fine, but all the parking spaces basically are red, which means that you can't park here. But they literally designated a whole entire lane to park. It's not even like parking spaces where it's like, okay, it's just parking as well as a lane. They closed off the whole lane for parking, but you're not supposed to park here. Like, what are you talking about? Not to mention there's a parking garage right next to it. So why don't you just park in the parking garage instead of parking on the street? Like, just make this another lane. I have absolutely no idea. You know, whatever. Next. Similarly to what we saw earlier, we have two lanes that could go straight, and that means that you're basically fighting to merge into one lane. This is really bad. Both of these lanes could turn right as well as left, which I guess is fine, but also not to mention there is another lane that comes from northbound. If the lane from northbound wants to turn left as well, once again it will be 3 cars competing for one lane. This is really bad. They should have just made it to where this far right arrow has to turn right and you can't turn left, or you can't go straight, but they didn't, and the result is quite funny. Next up, we have this horrendous bridge. I mean, the bridge is fine, you know, it's a pretty nice bridge. In Los Angeles, this bridge is actually a real bridge, pretty historical and whatnot. However, let's count how many right turn arrows there are on this bridge. So there's one right here, might be a little bit hard to see, it's a little bit faded, but that's 1. Okay, we go up ahead, not too bad. That's 2. Okay, a little bit excessive, but you know, whatever. That's 3. Okay, you know, a little bit excessive, but you know, we keep, that's 4. Okay, that's kind of pushing it. You know, Rockstar, what are we doing? That's 5. And that's kind of pushing it. There's 6. And that's not it. You get to the end and there are 7 arrows telling you you could turn right. There only needs to be 1 arrow telling you to turn right up here. I don't know why they added 7 arrows. And it's the same exact thing on the other lane of the bridge. Maybe they really want you to make sure that you can actually turn, and you are well aware of that as well. Next up, we have this absolutely unnecessary street in between Michael's house and this random house. Why is there a street right here? There are literally 2 streets like mere feet from each other that you can transfer between streets to. Like, there doesn't need to be a whole entire road right here. They could have just closed this off, and then they could have cut that house in the middle, sectioned it like into 2, so they could build 2 separate properties, which means more money for the city, more taxes, whatever. But no, they wanted to add a whole street just so you can go in between 2 streets, even though there's already 2 streets mere like probably like 100 feet away from each other. You know, maybe it's prime real estate here, but that doesn't make sense, because if it was, then there would be more houses. Next up, we have this horribly dangerous crosswalk, and this is everywhere in Los Santos. I have absolutely no idea why. So you cross this, and fair enough, you know, there's a crosswalk, but in the middle, it's like sectioned off. This whole island piece should just be one piece of concrete like curb. This shouldn't be like a street that you can go through, because that's pretty bad, but whatever, we move. You go forward and it's the same thing across the street, and there are like 5 different pieces that are divided up here, and now you have to cross another lane of traffic just to get to the other side of the street. I really don't understand this. They should have made this so you can't even cross. There's a crosswalk like right down the street that you only have to cross like 2 or 4 lanes, but no, they want you to cross like 5 here, and yeah, that is quite dangerous, I will say. Next up, we have a very unnecessary cut in the median divider in Chinatown. I'm not sure why this would be here. Like, if you want to turn around, just turn around at the light up ahead. No matter which way you're going, there's a light up ahead. It's very close. And I guess you could say it's for the alleyway, but you'd have to take a weird route. You'd actually have to drive towards oncoming traffic to go into that alleyway. So either they made the median cut too early, or they shouldn't have made this at all. Not to mention, there are double yellow lines, which means that you are not supposed to cross into this. So there's a median cut that you're kind of meant to cross into, but you're kind of not, because there are double yellow lines. Great job, Rockstar. Next up, you have this one street, which is absolutely horrendous. I put this in another video as well, because it's equally as horrendous there as it is here. So, you know, you drive through it, you have to pass one lane, and then you have to get dangerously close to this car right here, and then you have to compete for this lane with these people right here on the right who have a stop sign, even though there's no stop sign. As a matter of fact, they have a traffic signal. That should really be a yield, and there shouldn't be a traffic sign even there, but this is absolutely dangerous and very bad as well. Next up, we have this disabled parking space kind of next to Del Perro Pier, which is fine, you know, it's not bad to be disabled or whatever. Disabled people gotta go places too. But you know, you park there, you look around, and where exactly is the disabled person next to? You know, disabled spaces are usually mandated to be X amount of feet away from a business, so that way disabled people or people with disability problems don't have to walk too far. But there's literally no building next to this. Matter of fact, you have to cross a street to get to any building. So why is there a random disabled parking here? These may as well be all disabled parking because they're all equally far from a building. But, you know, completely fine in theory, but makes no sense when you think about it more. Next up, we have this intersection next to Del Perro Pier as well as the movie studio. First off, it tells you to stop once you approach this intersection, but it also has a yield sign on the right. So do I stop? Do I yield? Whatever, that's fine. But there's also like a shopping plaza with a crosswalk for civilians, and they have a yield sign as well. Like, I didn't know pedestrians have to yield to cars. Usually it's the other way around. And I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to drive onto this because this is a similar street in Los Angeles as well. I think it's called First Street or Second Street. I'll put a picture here. It has a bunch of shops. Pretty sure this is what this is based off of. The crosswalks there are only for civilians. You can't drive there with a vehicle unless you're like a service vehicle or something for one of the shops or, you know, something like that. So why are pedestrians yielding to cars? I have no idea. Next up, we have this left turn arrow, which is quite early, I will say that, and it's in a median divided lane with double yellow, which means that you are not supposed to cross into this to begin with. So what is the point of this? This may as well have just been a regular curb, and you could flip a UE at the light ahead and then turn wherever you gotta go. But why is there a random arrow right here in a median that you're not even supposed to drive in? Next up, we have these funny arrows at this fast food place, kind of next to the what is this, the La Mesa Police Department, I'm pretty sure. It tells you to turn right, and if you do follow that, you will end up in the Los Santos River, so that's nice. But maybe it means like a slight right. So you go up ahead, and then there's another arrow that tells you to turn left onto traffic. This is fine, but why does this need to be here? This is pretty self-explanatory. Like, I don't think you have to tell people to turn right and then left. Pretty sure most people know to turn onto the street and not into the river, but maybe the average IQ of a Los Santosian is not so high. Next up, we have this arrow outside the Davis Medical Center. And this is pretty bad, I will say. It tells you to turn left, but if you turn left, there's nothing there. And sure, maybe it might tell you to turn into the hospital parking lot, but that is a one-way, which does make sense because ambulances have to enter one, exit out the other, so they can be as efficient as possible to save lives. So why do they want you to turn head-on into an ambulance? I have no idea. I mean, I get if this was like a U-turn area, but like, just wait for the light up ahead and like, I don't know, why is this even here? This makes no sense at all. Next up, we have probably what is the single-handedly most dangerous street to drive on. I can't even speak. In Los Santos. So, okay, let's just paint a picture here. Paint a nice picture for you. Say you're on this street, you know, you want to turn right from this lane right here on the left. That's fine, but if you turn right from that street, you can possibly collide into the lane next to you, which is advised to go straight. Which, by the way, why is this lane like a pit stop looking area with parking? Like, I guess they want you to get hit by a car while you're parking your car, but whatever. It tells you to go straight right here, but where is straight? Is it like slightly to the right? Is it slightly to the left? I assume it's slightly to the left, like most people probably would, which, okay, that, you know, that's fair enough, whatever. But if you turn slightly to the left and the car in front of you is going straight, you will T-bone that car, because the car has to go slightly right to continue going straight towards the airport. And if that lane wants to turn right, you will T-bone them even harder. So this street just makes absolutely no sense at all. I don't know why there's dangerous parking right there either. There's a ton of parking spaces, but you know, whatever. I would not want to live in Davis because I'll probably have to deal with this street every day. Next up, we have this street in Davis. Now, this street is pretty long. Both directions of travel are. They go pretty far down, kind of towards the industrial district of Los Santos. And both sides of these lanes of travel have these weird yellow bumps that in theory you're not supposed to drive on because, you know, they're diagonal, which usually means, you know, they're zoned for, like, you're not supposed to drive on them. But they cut into the lane like every single time. There are so many of these bumps. Why are these here? Like, just keep it a normal lane so people can continue driving. It really makes no sense at all. And NPCs will follow this to a T. So if you're ever in the right lane going down this street, you will get hit by NPCs at least one time every time you go down this street. It's really bad. Next up, we have this stop sign on what I believe is Grove Street, kind of the upper part of Grove Street, but there's no stop sign. Like, it's only written on the floor. And what exactly am I supposed to be stopping for here? Like this pole on the right, like a crosswalk? I don't understand. NPCs themselves don't actually even follow this stop sign, so that just goes to show you that this isn't even coded for NPCs to follow. I'm pretty sure somebody just messed up and put this too forward, and maybe this was meant to be for the parking right there to the right. I really don't know. Next up, we have what is probably the most dangerous bench in these cities. So once you cross this intersection, which is pretty busy, there's a bench, which honestly, this is why people make fun of Americans for being obese, because we don't need a bench to sit down at for crossing a street. We can stand for a little bit longer. This is why people call Americans obese, but whatever. If you're sitting at this bench waiting for your light or whatever, you are at risk of becoming a victim of a car accident of something you have nothing to do with. Because if a car gets T-boned right here, the debris, all the glass is gonna come flying right at you, and you're probably dead, I'm not gonna lie. And this bench only has room for like 3 people. Why is there even a bench here? I have no idea. This shouldn't even be like a parking, a place you can go to. Cause why? Just go on the other side of the crosswalk if you want to get to the other street. There's no reason for you to go to this part because there's only a bench. Like, just sit on the floor if you're not tired. Next up, we have quite a difficult parking lot to use because of this pole. First off, there's a parking space that is being obstructed by the pole. You can't use that parking space unless you have immaculate parking, which I guess is theoretically possible, but if you're not like me, you're not gonna be able to do it. And then there's a parking space in the corner that is blocked off by a no-go zone because of the directional lines. So there are 2 parking spaces in this parking lot that are impossible to use, which is fine, but, you know, mark them off. Why are they there to begin with? I have no idea. Next up, we have kind of what looks like a parking lot to me, next to that house that you deliver the goods to in KOIAER. You know, this looks completely fine to me. A parking space, fine. But the curbs are red, which means that you can't park here. And if you can't park here, you know, maybe people will be like, oh, this is a place for pedestrians to look out, you know, like an observation deck to downtown Los Santos. That's fine. But why is it a street then? It's like made out of a street. Just make this like wood deck or something. Or make it like raised like a curb. Like, people are gonna think you could park here, but you can't because it's painted red. Like, what? Next up, we have this F1 pit stop style lane for the police department. There's like a random curb in the middle that divides the lane for cars and the lanes for cars that want to get to the police department, all for parking. Like, why? Just make this a regular lane and then make the parking extend as usual. Why does it have to be divided like this? I have no clue. Lastly, something that I want to poke fun at one last time is just the crosswalk is always facing the wrong way. If you are at a crosswalk or a intersection and you want to know if someone's about to cross with the little white man, you know, that shows when you're about to cross a street, it's pointed the wrong way, so you won't be able to see it. So you'll have to guess if somebody's there. I have no clue, but pretty much every intersection is like this in Los Santos. It's fortunate that GTA 5 was made during a time period without AI, or at least to the extent that we have AI today, because if these mistakes were made in Grand Theft Auto 6, people would certainly accuse Rockstar of using artificial intelligence to make the streets. I'm sure GTA 6 will be much more detailed than GTA 5, as they have already shown that they are not scared to add delays, which hopefully means they are taking more time to create a better product than what they could have with the time they allocated themselves. And thank you all for watching. Drop a like for a free PNQ and maybe an Ecolas or a Sprunk. Thank you to my channel members Byron, KOIAER, STRLTZ, and Anawack. I really appreciate you all. And have a great day, or night, or evening, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye! Hey, look, hey, look, hey, look. You better subscribe, because if you do not, I might cry. You better subscribe, I ran up the bands in GTA 5. You better subscribe, because if you do not, you might cry. You better subscribe, because if you don't, I might die. You better subscribe, I'm about to go crazy on the beat. You better subscribe, Hey, wait for the beat to drop. Ooh, you better subscribe, hey, you better subscribe, I'm out of breath. You better subscribe,